Good evening, everyone. She got J. Crew to you, coming at you once again with another YouTube video. Just want to do a video here on one of the latest unfortunate incidents that we've been hearing about on the news in relation to a sports athlete that shows that those who don't know history are simply doomed to repeat it. And I'll get into that further as I get into this video. The person that you see on your screen is a gentleman by the name of Henry Lee Ruggs III. He's a gentleman that's in the middle of his second year at wide receiver playing for the Oakland Raiders. And the reason that I'm bringing his story to you should be obvious. If you've been watching TV at all, and if you follow sports, you should know the tragedy that this young man caused. As I said, he's in his second year as a wide receiver for the Oakland Raiders. And what happened is that on November 2nd, early this week, he was driving very, very fast out there in Las Vegas where he plays football at in his little Chevrolet Corvette. And he was reportedly driving at 156 miles an hour. 156. And what happened is that he basically hit a woman from behind, as I understand it. And he hit her so hard that her vehicle exploded, and it killed her and her dog. It killed her and her dog. And what was kind of crazy was that Henry Lee, you see that he has like a neck brace on in his booking photo, because obviously he was taken to jail, for this type of offense earlier this week. But as I understand it, he maybe had some minor injuries. He was, he wasn't really hurt that bad. He was also driving with his girlfriend, I believe. And so neither one of them were really hurt like that. And let me say this, his girlfriend may have not been the victim, but I think she was. But I want to, kind of say that I'm not completely sure about that part. But what was so crazy about this is that this guy has the world at his fingertips. He's a young kid. He's only like 22 years old, I believe. And like I said, he got drafted last year at the University of Alabama. And last year was his rookie season, and this year is his second season. And this is a guy who's living a dream, but he made a deliberate bad decision to go drinking and driving, and he ended someone else's life along with her dog. And it's just a tragedy, man. And things like this are very, very avoidable. But he proves that apparently he doesn't know history a lot in terms of just, how bad drinking and driving is and how it's even affected his own profession. It's affected a couple of players in his own profession. I'm going to use two other guys as an example to sort of illustrate what I meant by the fact when I said, those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. Back in the mid to late 90s, there was another football player who was drafted out of the University of Tennessee named Leonard Little. He was a defensive lineman / linebacker when he came out of Tennessee. And I believe it was either Leonard Little's first or second year. He basically was driving drunk himself, and he hit and killed a woman in her car. Leonard Little, I believe, probably got probably a slap on the wrist, and that maybe he did, 90 days in jail, got a bunch of community service, and had to pay a fine or something like that. So he's an illustration now. Some of these guys, they're getting pretty much like you can get a slap on the wrist. And even if you commit something that serious, and you can not only get a slap on the wrist in your punishment, Leonard Little came back to the league. He played several more years. He played several more years, if not longer than that. So even though he committed an offense that bad, he did just a fraction of a jail sentence, if you ask me, in 3 months. And got, like I said, he had to pay a fine, maybe did some community service. He came back and played football. Also, another guy by the name of Dante Stallworth, ironically, who was drafted out of the University of Tennessee. I believe in like, what was it, 2000? Maybe 2001, 2002. It was maybe the early 2000s he got drafted. Dante maybe was early in his career. Well, he maybe was years later. I think Dante probably was playing years later. He may have been with the Cleveland Browns when this happened. But he was driving down in Miami. And Dante was driving maybe like a GT Continental, a Bentley GT Continental. And I think when he was driving, of course, he was a little bit intoxicated. And he hit this guy who was trying to cross the street, and he killed him. Dante Stallworth got a 30-day jail sentence and did 24 days in jail. And I think he got like 1,000 hours of community service, paid a big fine, and he was back in the league. So Dante Stallworth committed this same offense. Drinking and driving, ended up killing somebody. Yes, the gentleman was trying to cross the street, but he still killed him. And he got a light slap on the wrist. But he came back to the league to play maybe some more years. I'm not sure exactly how much longer he played, but he played football again. The reason I mentioned the fact that Leonard Little and Dante Stallworth came back, was I've seen a lot of videos where people saying, well, Henry Lee Ruggs' career is over. I'm like, they must not know the history of some of these guys that came before him. Because I'm like, if they knew about those cases, his career may not be over. Let me say that it's very, very sad what happened. It was completely Henry Lee Ruggs' fault. I believe he needs to go to jail for a minute, if not prison, because he took somebody's life doing something real foolish that could have been avoided. But I think people need to be careful about them. They're just coming to this early conclusion that his career is over. It may not be. You guys have to understand the cases of Leonard Little and Dante Stallworth. They came back after they killed somebody while driving drunk. So y'all don't need to assume prematurely that Henry Lee Ruggs' career is over with. Again, I don't mean to sort of make it seem like I'm kind of not focusing on the victim that he killed. But I just want to make that point because I think people are jumping out there real early and kind of speaking on that too quickly in terms of saying, oh, his career's over. When there have been two other guys who did basically the same thing in different places in the United States, and they were able to come back and play ball. The tragedy of Henry Lee Ruggs is that, he's a super talented guy. And when he got drafted out of Alabama, obviously he came from a top program. So he was blessed enough with athleticism to where he could go to a top football program, have a decent career, and still be drafted high in the first round, having a chance to live his dream. And again, I don't know if he has a fascination with speed or something. And the reason I mentioned that was that the last year when Henry Lee Ruggs was drafted, like in the first round of the 2020 draft, he was known to be one of the fastest players, like coming out of college football. He ran he can run 40 yards in 4.27 seconds. That's what he ran to combine. That's extremely fast for people who are not aware of that. That's extremely fast. And so he just kind of was going fast in his car, and then he was known to be fast himself. So I don't know if he had a fascination with speed or something like that, but I thought that was kind of ironic. But either way, this is a sad case. And again, this is going to be a long process for him because the Raiders, they cut him. I want to say a day after they found out the particulars of the accident, they cut him. So he's no longer with that team. And, his career with the Raiders over. I don't want y'all to come to this premature conclusion that he's just done. Because who knows? He could always have another opportunity in the league based upon those other two cases I just told y'all about. Again, condolences to the family of the woman that he killed and her dog. It's very, very sad. It's all his fault. He was definitely being, a fool for doing that. And he's going to take a lot of hits, both financially and probably from a freedom standpoint. This guy going to do some jail time, if not some prison time. So I just wanted to give y'all, I want to give y'all my take on this issue. And the reason I waited on is I don't want to be the first person to basically make a video on this stuff. I like to wait at least some days for everything to sort of go by to where I can get more of a handle on facts concerning the case as much as I can. And because I like to present factual information. But either way, we'll follow this situation, and we'll see what comes of Mr. Henry Lee Ruggs III. It's your boy J. Crew to you. Sign off. Y'all have a good one.